Madam, you are connecting?
Yes, sir. 1 second.
Okay. Dear friends, as I mentioned, there are various other topics. I am sure you are going to be benefited, and we have kept these title of these topics based on the NAACS assessment and accreditation process. And all these topics will be having two important components. The first component is with respect to the theoretical background pertaining to those titles. And the second part refers to the application aspect. How exactly these topics are connected to NAACS assessment and accreditation process. That is how we have planned. And every week we will be having a lecture under this Upanyasa Malika. And the second one is also very interesting. And the topic for the second lecture series, which I am announcing well in advance, it is quality assurance system. I think you know that it is very, very important. And what is this quality assurance system? All these data we are going to discuss. Now let us listen to Professor Sharma ji now.
Namaskar. Today I'll be talking on importance of administration and management in higher education. This is a Upanyasa Malika we have called. A series of lectures will be given, and I'm grateful to my colleague Professor Srikanta Swami, who has taken a lot of pains in preparing this scheme of Upanyasa Malika. And well, let me start my lecture with a small brief introduction. Ever since the inception of NAAC, it has evolved in monitoring the quality of higher education through assessment and accreditation processes. We are proud, the NAAC fraternity, the advisors, deputy advisors, assistant advisors, and all of them have worked very hard and accredited 609 of universities and 12,802 of the colleges. And quality of higher education is influenced by many factors. That is, while seeing the manual, you can very easily see all the 7 criteria, which means curriculum, number 1, and teaching learning process, and third one is the infrastructure, research, leadership, governance, student progression, evaluation, etc. And among these, the way in which the higher education institution administers and manages it for effective functioning is very important. In fact, that is the reason we have done a series of we have written a series of lectures which we will be delivering, and this is the first of the series. It's called as Upanyasa Malika. Malika is a string of thing, and Upanyasa is just the speech. And I'm going to speak on importance of administration and management in higher education, and followed by this Professor Srikanta Swami, who is a renowned educationalist, and he retired from RB School of Education as principal, and then he was in Christ University, and he has a lot of experience, guided a number of PhD students, and he will speak on educational management. And with this vast expansion of higher education institutions since independence, though the number of students have increased, but the infrastructure, facilities, faculty position, and other resources have not been significantly improved. And this has affected, in general, the quality of higher education. And of course, now awakening has started, and it is very much essential to address this issue. Well, in many of the state and central schemes have been introduced, and the government is doing excellent job. Of course, UGC has been doing wonderful job in giving a lot of funds, and the higher education scenario is considerably improved and is also improving. And coming introduction. And from 1980 onwards, the concept of quality started spreading across the globe. There are much variations across the globe with respect to quality of education. Now we can categorize into three different categories. One is the world-class universities, and the other majority are average category, and the rest are below the threshold level, creating a concern for quality, which soon developed into quality movement. And in the context of globalization, India started improving in the educational standards, expectations of students, changing education philosophy from idealism to pragmatism, and the competencies required for jobs created by the emerging technologies, reduced financial assistance across have really impacted. But now we have a lot of schemes. The government has been very kind and great in giving a lot of funds for RUSA grants, and so many other schemes are there where the institutions have paved way for participation, and they have been doing wonderfully well. And one element that deserves specific attention for its key relevance in affecting the higher education institution performance and efficiency is obviously the quality of management. And this deserves specific attention for its key relevance in affecting the higher education institutions' performance and efficiencies in quality of management. Well, there is a lot of literature available, and we'll have to strategize, and strategically institutions are bound to achieve the desired results. And in any higher education institution, the administration is one wing and the management is the other wing. Now, well, this is a nice thing to know. What is the difference between the management and administration? Let me just give a small example. There is a subject in engineering called as production planning and control. You produce, you plan, and you control. And over and above that, overarching, there is the management in a factory. Similarly, in higher education institution, it has a process of determining the objectives to be realized, that is in administration. Whereas planning of the work starts at the management. And what comes first is provides guidelines to the management and organization, and second is administration and derives strength from administration. And in administration, one prepares the framework under which one is asked to work and execute. In management, it supervises and controls the execution of assigned work. Well, in administration, it provides direction, guidance, and leadership through appropriate executive orders. And in management, it coordinates the direction, guidelines, leadership through appropriate actions and activities. This is important. Well, management is in business and service organization is the function that coordinates the efforts of people to accomplish goals and objectives using available resources efficiently and effectively. Well, management as an art. The organizational functions and tasks through people which is done is called as management as art. Management can also be defined as science. How? When? Because the establishing a philosophy, laws, theories, principles, processes, and practices which can be applied in various situations, including educational institutions, then that constitutes as management as science. Management as an organization, it is about creating formal structures like establishing based on mission, objective, functions, and tasks. Well, management as a person, may be seen as a person or a group of people. Management as a discipline. In this sense, management is a field of study with various subjects and topics. Management thus is a collection of process including such things as decision making, problem solving, and action planning. Management approaches. Management is the process of setting and achieving organizational goals through its function, which means forecasting, organization, coordination, training and monitoring evaluation. These are some of the important processes of management. In administration, it is more of supportive in the nature of service, while management is more of decisive, which gives direction from the top and the administration executes for the development and growth. Management generally operates with 5 basic functions. What are these 5 basic functions? One is the planning and the organization, coordinating, commanding and controlling. These are the 5 elements of management, and of course each terminology itself explains for itself what is managing, what is organizing, what is planning, what is coordinating, what is commanding and what is controlling. Who is a remarkable manager? A remarkable manager in higher education institution is one who has the creativity, intuitive power, commitment, knowledge, flexibility, humanity, discipline, relaxation. Relaxation is not just relaxation, after doing a certain work, you give a different work altogether. That is relaxation. For example, if you take a class and the same thing in another section, that may not be a relaxation for a teacher. A relaxation is after a class, maybe a laboratory and then again another class and overview details. Remarkable manager, what is the definition? Management is a continuous process. Several interrelated activities are performed by managers, and managers use the resources of the organization, both physical as well as human, to achieve the goals. Management aims at achieving the institution goals by ensuring effective use of resources in the best interest of the society. Well, aspects of management in education. This is a wonderful thing to be debated. Resource mobilization is one of the most important thing. How do you generate additional resources for the institution? Then in governance, governance automation in governance to be more productive in academic as well as administration. Establishment of academic links, national, international and industry bodies. Private sector participation view, the increasing demand for higher education, then adequate welfare measures are very important for the staff. And then, while concluding, I would say that any organization which has to prosper needs a good leader and direction, decision making, planning, and more than anything, you have all the plans, but implementation is most important. That is the thing. And the policy and practices of any institutions in matter of planning, human power, requirement, recruitment, training, performance appraisal, and finance management are paramount important. And the role of leadership in any organization cannot be taken for granted or underestimated. And leadership is important in building the organizational culture by setting values and demonstrating effectiveness. How? That is by participative and decision making processes. And anyway, we will be meeting again in the next probably next fortnight. And thank you very much. Over to Professor Srikantaswamy. Thank you.
Same. In today's lecture, I will be speaking more on educational management and its application to higher education. Some of the points I am going to reinforce so that it makes us to have a better clarity and we can apply the same thing in our day-to-day situation. Professor Ramya Kumarji, you are also there? Okay, can I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can start.
Okay, right. I am going to start my talk using the slides. I'm going to upload the slides. Can you hear me? Yes, sorry, can you see this also, sir? All of you can see?
Yes, it's visible, sir.
Okay, fine. Now I am going to just start with little focus on leadership. Already our director has spoken about the management and the role of the leader. Somewhere he has covered, but I wanted to stress little more. Some of you may be familiar about these important quotations. Leaders become great not because of their powers, but because of their ability to empower others. Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. To handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart. And I'm sure these are the quotations that have motivated you to visualize who is a leader and what is leadership. Good leadership is very much necessary for effective administration and management. Today we are focusing on administration on one hand, little bit on leadership and also on management, and ultimately how exactly these concepts and the deeper understanding of these concepts, how they are going to be useful for the administrators. With that focus only we are presenting, we are discussing. Wisdom influences on good leadership because it includes intelligence, experience, and goodness. Always we say we have to move from information level to the knowledge level and knowledge level to the wisdom level. Now, what is this wisdom? Wisdom can be mathematically defined as intelligence plus experience plus goodness also. All these three contribute for wisdom. Without goodness, you cannot think that a person is wise enough to say certain things. Similarly, if he is not having any experience, we cannot say he is wise enough to share, wise enough to guide. So also the intelligence. Leadership may be either transactional, where more focus will be upon the supervision, then upon optimizing the resources, as well as on the performance. Whereas the transformational leadership is another category. Therefore, some of them may be transactional in nature, some leaders may be transformational in nature, some may be charismatic leadership through which they wanted to bring holistic changes in the situation or in the setup where that they are working. In transformational leadership, both leaders and followers will change. Followers will become the leaders, and the leaders become the moral agents to enable others to grow as persons. I think this is the definition given by McGregor, Burns. Therefore, followers will become the holders, and the leaders, and the leaders become the moral agents to enable others to grow. This is very interesting. Therefore, a transformational leader is one wherein he changes and assumes a greater height, and wherein he wanted to guide the others. On the other hand, in the process of transacting with the other people, he will transform them into great leaders. I think this is a beautiful message for all of us, so that we can also exhibit both the transactional as well as transformational leadership, wherein the administration play a very important role. Now here I have given a little focus on educational administration because there can be a general administration, like how an IAS officer administers a particular state or a particular district. Similarly, administration may be there in the field of hotel industry. But we wanted to focus more in the field of education. That's why I have given emphasis upon educational administration. What is this? It is a process of integrating the efforts of personnel and utilizing appropriate resources in such a way as to promote effectively development of human qualities. Friends, this is very important. In educational administration, Our concern is to develop the human beings as well as to develop the human qualities, utilizing the human resources on one hand and the other resources available. It is a process of integrating the efforts of the members of the staff, the students and parents and community, wherein they are going to utilize the resources, like as I mentioned, material resource, financial resource and human resources. It has more determinative in function. That's why if the education administration is very strong, I am sure it leads to very good output and it makes people to achieve whatever the objectives with which that they are operating. There are a few functions for this education administration. As Professor has already mentioned, planning is important in good administration. Execution is important. Giving direction for other people to come out with action plan is important. Supervision is important. Guiding them is equally important. And at the same time, increase the efficiency. Always experts will speak these two terms. Management experts also will speak these two terms. One is with respect to efficiency and the other one is with respect to effectiveness. How effectively one is operating or one is administering. How efficiently one is administering. Therefore, efficiency and effectiveness are equally important. Then the other one is called exploration. Exploration in which we come out with many alternatives by means of which it is easy for us to go for different levels of achievement. Similarly, the assistant or the support by means of which we can get feedback, and feedback mechanism also works in administration. I have come across with my 45 or more than 46 years of experience, I have come across administrators, some of them are extremely good. They are task oriented. Their main intention is to extract the work from the other people without trying to know the difficulties through which that they are passing and the way in which they want some kind of support from the administrator. Most of them are not very clear because they don't believe in getting the feedback. Therefore, in my opinion, if the feedback is good, if the administrator is very much interested in the feedback, it is possible for him to perform better and it can be a win-win situation. Win-win situation means the employer is also happy, the employee is also very happy. I think that is the situation that we are talking. And the scope of education administration is, of course, planning, identification of goals. This is equally important. Whenever we are planning, we have to keep the goals in mind. And in order to achieve the goals, only the planning is there. Therefore, planning and goals should go together. Otherwise, planning may be there. Without much focus on the goals, we may go and land in a different place. Therefore, goals and planning related. Then optimal utilization of resources. Friend, this is very, very important. NAC is insisting on the infrastructure. Wherever the peer team goes, they expect the infrastructure, good infrastructure, and at the same time, the utilization of these infrastructure. I have come across many colleges, they have got beautiful infrastructure. Even outside India, I have gone. Harvard University I have visited, Arlington University I have visited. Most of these universities have got beautiful infrastructure. But what about the utilization? In some of the universities, technical universities, engineering colleges, students will be going between 10 to 5. After 5, what will happen to these resources? Are we using them at the optimal level? If we can use the resources up to the optimal level, production will be better, outcome will be better, thereby we are going to achieve the objectives at a greater level. Prevention of wastage and duplication of effort and unhealthy practices. This is very, very important. Prevention of wastage. Lot of wastage in terms of water we are seeing, in terms of electricity we are seeing, in terms of papers we are seeing, in terms of electronic gadgets we are seeing. That's why NAC, when it goes for the visit, it always insists upon this particular aspect, namely, how do you manage your waste? Waste management, we insist upon that. Therefore, an educational administrator should have a clear knowledge, idea about this waste management and the prevention of wastage. Similarly, orderly execution of plans. Planning is good, but what about the execution? What about the supervision? If planning and supervision, they have to go together. Sometimes we are good in planning and bad in executing, and with the result, we are not going to get the optimal level. When our country, after independence, we started planning in terms of Pancha Varshika Yojana or 5 years plan. And I have come across economic students were given the questions why the first 5 year plan failed, second 5 year plan failed in such and such an area. Why it is so? Because planning is one aspect, executing is another aspect. And planning means functional planning. Planning means scientific planning. The more emphasis should be upon the scientific planning, and it is the duty of the administrator to see that the planning should be on the scientific ground. There are many academic aspects related with the planning. The first one is with respect to the curriculum. Since we are talking about educational administration, a good administrator is always concerned with the curriculum that is going to be the main focal point for the educational achievement. Therefore, he should be very conscious in studying about the curriculum, what they have introduced, how exactly the curriculum transaction is happening, which is very, very important for an administrator. What about the calendar of event? I think, friends, most of you must be knowing there are universities where proper planning was not there and proper supervision monitoring was also not there. With the result, there was no proper academic calendar. The consequence was, in the place of conducting the examination in the month of March, they used to conduct the examination in the month of May, in the month of June. How it is possible? Therefore, a good administrator should have a clear-cut idea about the number of working days, number one, when we have to start the colleges or the classes, when we have to close, how we have to monitor the classes taken by the teachers, very, very, very important. And I have come across great vice chancellors of some universities. They brought revolutionary changes, and where teachers, teaching community and others thought that it is very difficult to prepare the academic calendar for the university. For the school system, it is all right, but not for the university, they were saying. But some of the good vice chancellors, good administrators, they made it, and ultimately they have proved that it is possible even at the PU level, possible at the university level. Even pre-university, they have got a structured academic calendar. They are insisting that admission should start on such and such a date. Admission should be over on such and such a date, with little exceptions. I think thanks to these great administrators who are administering the education so well, and there are people who have not understood, those who have not implemented, those who are not able to administer, I think they have to take some tips from these great administrators so they also can do. The co-curricular activities. What should be the extended activities or co-curricular activities the university or the college should run? Organization and distribution of work. Friend, this is very, very important. Distribution of work, allotment of work. In any organization, if there are 100 people, I think studies have revealed, research has revealed that around 10 to 15% of the people, difficult to change them because they possess lot of resistance in the working place. Because of lot of resistance, they are not able to cooperate with the administrator. Therefore, there is a need, what type of work should be given to whom? Right type of work for the right person is always better, but in some of the places we have come across right type of job for the wrong person or wrong type of job for the right person. In both the situations, I think things are not moving very effectively. Establishment of infrastructure. I think infrastructure is not very, very important according to some experts, but without infrastructure, it is difficult to do justice to quality education. That is my personal opinion. Even our Sharmaji, our director, he has got keen interest in developing the infrastructure. He believes in it, And wherever he goes, he wanted to develop the infrastructure because infrastructure adds to quality. Infrastructure motivates the people to plan for the future. Conducting examinations on time, then establishing the guidance and counseling cells, I think, which is also very important. Community reach programs. In that way, an educational administrator, if he is a person with futuristic plan, futuristic wheel, if he can construct and develop, it is possible that he can provide a very good quality education. Hence, an educational administrator should have a sound knowledge about the aspects connected with the educational setup. Then budgeting is very important. Budgeting is an essential facet of successful organization administration. It calls for an estimated account of revenues and expenditure with scope to embrace contingency and other things whenever it is required. Our budget and finance is equally important. The role of finance officer and good understanding of the finance officer with the administrator. If it is good now, they can develop and they can provide all kinds of facilities for the students or the stakeholders by means of which they get satisfaction that they are having and they can contribute. And then revenues is equally important, concern of the people who are involved in the budgeting. If you wanted to prepare, fine. But how do you balance between the income and expenditure? How do you get the income for the revenue for the university or the college? But I'm happy, friends, to share there are universities wherein they have got special units like director in charge of fundraising. You may be surprised. There may be a director who has given the designation. His job is to go in the right direction to mobilize the resources by means of which the university can stand on its own with respect to finance. Similarly, organizing various kinds of programs, keeping the infrastructure on one hand and the expectation of stakeholders on the other hand is equally important. As is the organization, so will be the outcome. As is the budget, so will be the probability of organizing the better programs. In that way, both of these two are highly connected. Then human elements, very, very important. Experts have said sometimes it is easy to deal with the materials, to deal with the finance, but difficult to deal with the human beings. There were sometimes, though it has got both positive and negative, but how do you manage with the human beings? Human resource management, which is equally important. How do you manage the human resources? I think educational administrators should organize the programs by means of which human beings can be encouraged, they can be motivated, lot of rewards and incentives can be introduced in order to motivate them and contribute for the growth of an organization. Material elements now, money, building, grounds, equipments, libraries, computers, etc. I think, friends, once upon a time, when we started our teaching, we had a lot of difficulty to get one overhead projector. Amir Kumarji, during our period, to get one overhead projector, it was so difficult. But now computers easily they can get it. Laptop they can easily get it. Therefore, there are methods by means of which it is possible for you to provide good facilities to the students. Education administrators should keep the different ways by means of which that they can provide this. Ideas and principles play a very, very important role. And good ideas and good principles. Many times, good ideas will come, but administrators should encourage those ideas. Unless they encourage those ideas, the ideas cannot be converted into products. Ideas cannot be converted into useful things to the society. Therefore, there is a need to nurture the innovative and creative ideas of the people, ideas of the students, ideas of the staff members, ideas of the principals. You know about the soft mobiles, what you call smart mobiles, when it came in the beginning. People were astonished to see that beautiful smartphones, because they never thought that using the phones, it is possible for you to see the videos. But the Microsoft company, Apple company took the lead under the great leadership, and they brought so many changes. What idea which was not possible once upon a time, they can convert it. When I was a young boy, I asked, when somebody was calling, I said, "Who is calling?" "Oh no, my friend is calling." I told him, "How nice if you can see your friend when he is calling." He said, "That is highly impossible." Now we can see. Therefore, ideas we have to respect, ideas should be nurtured, and it is the duty of the educational administrator to encourage all those people who have got creative ideas to contribute. All cannot come out with ideas, all cannot be creative, because in the universe, in the creation itself, we have come across a lot of variations. Some trees are small, some trees are big, some trees are very huge, some flowers are having fragrance, some flowers are not having, big, small. So like that, even among the human beings also we come across such individual differences, ability wise, skill wise, competencies wise, attitude wise, we come across a lot of variations. Therefore, when people are there with ideas, I think they are going to be the assets. There is a need, according to me, to nurture them. Then there are many components, as I said, involved in a good educational administration. I think some points may be repeated, but I'm highlighting and reinforcing them once again. Providing the human resources, very good. I think without human resources for an university or a college, human resources is very important. No gadget, no computer can substitute a very good teacher. A good teacher cannot be substituted by any kind of gadget. In the same way, whenever we are appointing the staff members, I think we have to use a very good measuring yards by means of which they can be tested, then they can be observed, so they are going to be the assets for an organization to contribute. Then providing the financial and material resources, I think very, very important. We should come out with some kind of schemes by means of which these resources can be enhanced. What type of schemes that you can have? What kind of support you can get it from the society? I think that's why when the NAC PRT members, when they go for assessment, they also will ask, keeping the manual in mind, do we have MOIs with organizations? Do you have any collaborations with the other agencies, industries, banks? Because sometimes you wanted to provide some scholarships. You may not be having the resources on your own. If any possibility that you can have collaboration with the bank, take the support of the bank, and by means of which you can provide some kind of the financial assistance, scholarships, free ships to the students who are belonging to what we call the socially, economically backward group. I think there is a need to have that. And then curriculum development programs and units. In Western countries, they have got departments known as curriculum development, Dean of Curriculum Development, which is very, very important. Day and night, they think about the curriculum. What should the curriculum in future? Then organizing teaching, learning, and evaluation programs. I think this is also equally important. A good administrator should watch the quality of teaching that is going on, quality of learning that is going on, how best he can administer for better teaching, better learning, and better evaluation. Calendars I have already mentioned, time schedules which I have mentioned there, and he also can organize number of programs by means of which time management. Under the management, we speak about different types of management. One such type is time management, time schedules, some information regarding that, disciplines, then physical health programs, sports, so many things are there. Therefore, according to me, if a good administrator with good vision, with good commitment, I think he can ponder over many, many aspects related to, many components related to higher education, by means of which he can monitor well, by means of which he can contribute well, by means of which he can see the growth of the organization. there are different functions we expect from an administrator. First part we say vision, mission and goals for the institution. Thanks to NAC, I can recollect my association with the NAC long back. I was also the self-appraisal coordinator in my college where I was working. And the moment people said NAC is going to come, all of them have become alert in order to see what should be our vision, what should be our mission, what should be our goals. Therefore, somewhere or the other, the NAC's intervention has created some kind of vibration by means of which they made all higher education institutions to come out with some kind of vision, some kind of mission in a structured way and with goals. Then policies and procedures. Do you have a written policy? Policy for the student, policy for recruitment, policy for the examination, revaluation. I think a very interesting function that they have to do. Formate the structure of the organization. What type of structure you want in the organization? Hierarchy, like we say, director, then the dean, then senior professors, associate. What should be the structure in your organization? Describe the power and authority of different positions. This is equally important. Sometimes I have come across some professors say, sir, I have got the position, but I don't have the power. I don't know who has to give the power to him. In some place they said, sir, I do not want power, I want position so that I can contribute. The power versus position is important, and it is a duty of a good education administrator to see how best he can do justice by means of which the faculty members can be happy, both in terms of the position as well as in terms of the power, by means of which that they can bring change. Prescribe the duties and responsibilities of the different positions. We always ask about the rules. We also ask about the rule book. We insist upon what we call, because many times they say, no, sir, in our organization, it is a tradition, it is a custom, no rule book here, no memorandum of understanding regarding that. And we do not have a standard operation of procedures, SOP we call, we don't have. But I have come across in some of the great good institutions, in some of the great corporate sectors, they have got beautiful rule books, because rule also works in order to minimize some kind of complication that may arise, because when rules are not there, if you wanted to implement, it leads to some problems. Therefore, it is better to structure it and make it. I think some of these functions, as I said, vision, policy and procedure, structure or hierarchy, what should be, or adminogram in an organization, and then power versus the authority, power versus the position I mentioned, then also duties and responsibilities of the different positions. I think there are various other functions also. I have mentioned few because of paucity of time. Some of the others like resources now, because when resources are not there, for example, I have come across a big university where there are only 1 or 2 small canteens. Many students depends on that, depending upon the environment, depending upon the demand university has to provide, college has to provide. But I have come across some universities where they have understood, they have done a small survey, what students want, how many canteens they want, they have already provided. Of course, some of them may collect more fees, wherein they may say we do justice to the students. They have got coffee centers in the university, North Indian dishes, South Indian dishes, fruit stall, juice centers, then Xerox centers. What facility that they want? They say our students, we are all friendly, and our commitment is towards the students. If students are happy, we can extract work from them and they can contribute better. Because they believe in that philosophy. Provide the human resources to run the organization. Prescribe the qualitative and quantitative standards of performance. Beautiful. This is very important. Qualitatively as well as quantitatively, we have to define the standard or performance. Provide good professional leadership. I think very important. Sometimes we used to ask this question whether the leaders are made or leaders are born. Some leaders are born. With little bit of orientation to them, they can bring revolutionary changes. Whereas some of them, they have acquired leadership and based upon whatever that they have acquired, they are contributing. Therefore, this is also equally important when we are talking about good administration, because leadership and administration go together. Encourage employees and promote continuous development. Evaluate the total outcome in relation to the established policies and aims. Integrate all the forces acting in the field of education. I think very good. We can list out the different functions theoretically available, practically discuss with the people. We can visit good institutions. We can have a direct face-to-face interaction, first-hand experience, and we can implement it. Therefore, I always believe simply if we say education should become good, it will not help. We have to make sure whether the educational administrators are there or not, whether they have been trained or not, whether they have got good vision. I think from there I start. This is very much essential. There are different criteria for efficient administration. As I mentioned, good leadership, democratic and participative management. A good leader should be a little more democratic, and he should encourage everybody to participate in the program. And his planning should be systematic, as I mentioned. And developing meaningful database is also equally important. If you go to some organizations, they suffer quite a lot because they do not have proper database. We have conducted a Google survey, and our survey reveals that some people are afraid about the database, what they are having. They do not have. Only because of the NAAC's intervention or the accrediting agency's intervention, they are forced to prepare beautiful documents. Therefore, I think it is very much essential that a good administrator should be good enough in order to keep the documentation. In a humorous way, we say Indians are very good in working, and some of the Westerns are very smart in decorating their work in a humorous way. Sorry, don't mistake. Like that, many people are there to work, but they do not know how to document it. This is one of the reasons why some of our government college institutions are not coming. Government institutions are not coming for accreditation. One of the reasons. There may be other reasons also, but this is one of the reasons. Assessing the fitness of purpose and targets, judicial use of resources, flexibility, feedback and review. Now, friends, I also believe feedback and review plays an important role. Any kind of feedback, if we can take, if we can implement the feedback, it is always better. That's why in one of our metrics in the NAAC, it says, have you collected feedback from the students regarding teaching? Fine. Regarding evaluation, it is fine. From whom you have taken the feedback regarding the quality of education, what you are providing? Parents. Like that, then after receiving the feedback from the people, what is your action? Have you taken any action? Many will say, sir, we have collected the feedback. Where? Just collected and we have kept it there. No. I think this is also an important point. Then the next one is, this is the last part which I am touching. Therefore, when we are talking about the administration, when we are talking about the planning and administration, I think the management has influenced both the administrator as well as the planners in a beautiful manner. The intervention of management has brought so much of significant visibility in the change, and because the change, we can see output is better, outcome is better, quality is also better. Therefore, educational management and its intervention is equally important. We expect a good leader to be a good manager. A good administrator should be a good manager, and he should know how to manage. That's why I've taken this particular part. Educational management, it is regarded as a dynamic and ever expanding process in which new developments take place continuously, depending upon the changing the needs of the nation. Whenever there is a change and the needs are more in the nation, accordingly we have to bring the change. And the management and management principles will help us to bring those changes within a short period of time. Digital India concept, the management people said this is how we can do it, this is how we can bring the change in the digital India concept. Then the skill development program, they said this is how. Therefore, educational management people are so good in bringing the significant changes within a short period of time. A good administrator should be aware about this. research in educational management is essential. Because we have to take up the research, and of course, lot of researches are available regarding the functioning aspect there. Therefore, the demand aspect, supply aspect, regarding that the researches are available. In that way, there are many areas in the area of management. Lot of research people have conducted. Findings are available. Educational management researches are there, but we have to take those findings and apply into our system so that we can bring incremental changes and also the significant changes. Establishing standards and standardization methods of work in various departments and improve the quality of administration is equally important. Then educational management focuses upon the responsibility and roles, very important. Most of us, we are forgetting about the responsibilities, but we are talking about the rules. Therefore, we have to see what should be our role, what should be our responsibilities, and what should be our commitment. What are our skills? Even the national education policy also insists upon the institutional developmental plan, IDP they say. Therefore, educational management makes administrators to work out the institutional development plan so that through that they can work out both at the macro as well as micro level to bring a lot of changes. Decision making, problem solving, communication, information management, and effective team building is also supported by educational management. You see, as a team, people should be good individually what they are. But individually they are good, but when they work together, how they will be, these two are equally important. In an organization, based upon the systems approach, individuals should be very good. Individuals should be capable of contributing, and at the same time, when many individuals join together as a team, they should be able to contribute much more. Individual versus team. Maintenance of school records, evaluation of students' achievement, effective allocation of financial resources, planning, budgeting, all these things will be related to a very good educational management. And good management, management experts, they are talking about all these things. Educational management also insists upon achieving institutional objectives. What are your institutional objectives? How do you achieve them? Improving the process of planning, organizing, creating, enhancing, and maintaining a positive public image of the institution. Very important. Do you know what public is talking about your institution? What is the public image that you are having? I think managing people, they help you to make you to open your eyes and see. They are talking about 360-degree evaluation. Students, how do they feel about your institution? Higher authorities, how do they feel? Parents, how do they feel about it? Financing agents, how do they feel? How do they look at your institution? Very interesting. Optimal utilization of human resources, which I mentioned already. Enhancing efficiency and effectiveness, which I have covered already. Establishing job satisfaction, enabling job satisfaction is equally important because many studies have revealed job satisfaction and performance, higher degree of relationship. What about the creating and maintaining a congenial and cohesive atmosphere? Experts are talking about organizational climate, organizational culture. As is the organizational culture, so will be the production, so will be the outcome. Therefore, always it is very much essential to build up a very good culture in an institution. Management really helps. Managing interpersonal conflict, stress, relationship, interpersonal communication. Then relationship with the community. How do you move with the community? All right, you are getting the students from the community, getting money from the community, but what will you do for the community? What is your commitment to the community? Management experts, in the name of corporate social responsibility, they say your responsibility is to contribute to the community, go and help them in the name of CSR. Now the concept has come. Division of work, then the authority, discipline aspects. I think many aspects that they have covered, like the remuneration given to remuneration policy in your institution. How much of remuneration you give? Remuneration and efficiency will go together. Remuneration and job satisfaction may go together. Subordination of individuals' interest now. the relationship among the individuals, subordinates. I think equity aspect, stability aspect. Therefore, I have come across in an institution, the organizational climate is so good. They say, sir, even if we get 1,000 rupees less, we do not want to leave this organization and go to the others because our organization has got very good atmosphere, very good culture. In that way, the stability depends upon your organizational climate, organizational culture. Similarly, you should be able to maintain the spirit of the core values of the higher education institutions. Very, very important. What are your values? How do you stick on to these values? How do you manage? How do you see that it is going to be practiced? This is also equally important. Now, lastly, I think I'm coming to the end of my talk. Applications of educational management, where institution needs to formulate vision and mission. I think there it starts. For example, if the institution envisions a strong community orientation of research focus, it will be fostered by the management by providing support and motivating and initiating the groups into action. Therefore, vision says we want our people to become great scholars, great researchers. But how do you achieve this? Provide fund, encourage them, leave facilities, incentives. It is possible that they can come up with the research skills and research bent of mind. In order to meet the challenges of the 21st century and to acquire a competitive edge, the higher education system has to transform itself to make it more socially relevant information and technology oriented. This is equally important. Our National Education Policy 2020 has come out with the beautiful informations keeping the future in mind. Therefore, I think we can apply the educational management principles so that we can achieve whatever the policy documents expect us to do in future. The skills and specialization, very important, and graduate attributes, leadership qualities. So most of the times we say we are not developing the second line leadership is not there, whether in the field of politics or in the field of academic administration. Therefore, somewhere or the other, we are not training the second line. How do we develop the second line leadership? Then what are the graduate attributes, what we have listed? I think educational management also helps us to manage in the available resources in a better way. Value of teamwork, which I have mentioned already. Team building, team spirit is equally important. Unity is strength. If you believe in that, we can do wonderful things. In an organization, if unity is not there, good understanding is not there, it is very difficult for us to achieve the main goal or the objectives of an organization. Then the master plan, institution development plan, which is equally important. Therefore, I have come across very good institutions. They always prepare the strategic planning. In the name of strategic planning, they come up with short-term plan on one hand and long-range plan on the other hand. Short-term means for this academic year, what we can do. Long-range plan means after 3 years, how we will be, how we want it to be. After 5 years, how you want it to be. It is required to have governance that combines social vision, including understanding of global issues with efficient management skills. Now, friends, the whole globe is shrinking. We said we are going for internationalization of education. Therefore, when we are giving education, we have to keep the international standards also in mind, and we have to give in this direction. Educational management plays an important role. Management needs to be vigilant about the changes in the environment, and accordingly we have to plan, we have to achieve. Then the need to commit to the development of the entire workforce and encourage participation. How do you make people in the organization to participate effectively? Personal commitment in planning and reviewing. Performance and recognizing employees for quality is also equally important. Leaders, however, serve as role models. Now, somewhere or the other, have you created some role models in your organization so that in turn they can induce others? This is also an important concern in the organization. Now, friends, in conclusion, Every administrator should have the knowledge of the concepts like administration, management and educational management, then acquaint to the various models or theories on educational management, implement the principles of educational management to attain the objectives of educational management. While doing the academic audit, more emphasis should be on the above aspects so that administration can also be streamlined. Now, this is a beautiful picture, time management, a beautiful situation which you will enjoy, humorous. Here, a conversation between the two people. Would you like to read my book on the management? The person one who has written the book says, these pages are blank. After reading the book, he says there are few pages which are blank. Time management. There is a book about the time management. Therefore, one who read the book, he says these pages are blank. 3 pages are blank. Then he says, I just saved your 3 hours, like that the author says. It is a beautiful situation with respect to time management. There are many aspects are there. Now, this is also another interesting management and employee. In some of the places, employees are not given much freedom. Management is more powerful. What will happen? This situation will happen. Can you reverse this situation? If you reverse this situation, what will happen? I think you have to think, you have to discuss, and you have to tell me. Then change management, they say, bring change. Easy to say, but difficult to act. But somewhere or the other, we have to act in such a way to bring the change. Now, friends, this is what I want to just share with you. Therefore, thank you very much for having heard. In due course, I expect more people to participate, and with whatever the difficulty with which we have prepared, let that source of information, let it not stay with us, let it reach us to you. Kindly motivate your friends to come so that we can have a better interactions in future. Thank you very much. I am going to stop here. Thank you, sir. Samuel? Hello?
Yes, sir.
I think if there are any questions, probably we can just invite them. Yeah, because we have got another 5 to 10 minutes maximum time is there, please.
Yes, sir. I'll request the participants, if you have any questions, you may raise your hands. The option is available in the application.
Yeah, hello? No question?
There is one raised answer,
Yeah. Okay.
but still. Dr. M.G. Biju.
Yes.
Dr. M.G. Biju, do you have any question?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir? My voice
Yeah,
is
yeah.
audible to you.
Yes.
Sir, normally it's very interesting, sir. What you have talked is very interesting, and I'm grateful to the NAC for organizing such an event. So it's a fantastic speech.
Okay, thank you. No.
What I would like to ask you is, there is a lot of conflict. I am from a college based at Kerala.
Okay.
So here, actually, there is a conflict between the academic community, the university, and also the other stakeholders like the management,
Okay.
the students. A lot of
Yeah.
conflicts are there.
Okay.
So I think it would be grateful and address, how to manage these conflicts, because there is academic conflict, political conflicts. So
Okay.
a lot of issues are there. So these are
Yeah.
actually standing as a blockade.
Okay.
In executing our vision, mission, whatever it is. So while speaking, it is very fantastic. In Kerala, now we are talking too much, but when it comes to execution, I think this is acting as a blockade. So can you throw some light on that, sir?
Okay.
How to manage these conflicts
Okay.
among stakeholders? So that
Yeah,
is interesting.
I think thank you for your nice question and also a practical question. In my opinion, there are few books on conflict resolution available, or you can just search online. But 4 to 5 tips I would like to give using this experience. Why the conflict arises, that is very important. Therefore, conflict, you see, we have got some approaches we say in psychology, like avoid approach, avoid very interesting. Avoid approach, we say no. Sometimes if we do not like the people, we wanted to avoid. X also wants to avoid Y. Y also wanted to avoid Y. X. The other one is called approach conflict is also there. Sometimes we come together and then conflict is created. So like that, there are some psychological approaches responsible for this conflict. Therefore, somewhere or the other, the conflict can be resolved only through little bit of discussion and open mind. According to me, if there is a conflict, then I think we have to, it is something like a problem solving situation. We have to come together, discuss the matter very much openly, then see who is the cause and what is the effect now, discuss that openly, and after discussing, then we should come out with some kind of understanding that this is how X has to do, this is how Y has to do, so that any kind of conflict that arises can be minimized. Therefore, based upon the problem solving approach, it is possible to reduce, in my opinion, to reduce the conflict that is coming. You can start that from the classroom level, number one, if it is there, or among the staff members level, you can try. Among the academic level, you can try. Later on, only we have to go for the outside factors responsible for the conflict. Internal factors may be there, or external factors may be there. That you have to find out whether the internal factors are responsible or the external factors, and start from your end. Speak out. Like some kind of conflict arises between husband and wife, conflict between the son and the father. How do we overcome that? Like I call my son, call my daughter. What happened? I told the other day, I will not say that in future. You said it like that. In that way, open way wherein both of us should agree to some kind of understanding and proceed. In my opinion, that helps. And books are also there with a lot of theoretical information. Sir, you please try and then share. I would appreciate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Fantastic, sir.
Okay. Sir. Amir Kumar is there? No.
Hello. Yeah, there are some raised answer. Dr.
Yeah.
Priti Pragyan Rai. Dr. Priti Pragyan Rai.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Firstly, I want to congratulate you, sir, for your wonderful presentation, sir, and also want to congratulate NAC for arranging such events for us. So my question is, sometimes what happens, there are lots of activities going on in a college, but sometimes it's not easy to document everything because people don't give information at the correct time. So can you advise us, sir, like how can we keep those documents, because many people are involved in various activities.
Okay. Now,
So how can we document all those activities in a proper span of time?
very good. Beautiful, madam. Now,
Without hurting their sentiments, like they don't give it fast, and
agree.
we want to keep good relations with them.
I will tell
Yes,
you.
sir.
Yeah. Therefore, I think according to me, it is a question concerned with the administrator first. Therefore, according to me,
Yes, sir.
we expect the administrator, the principal or the
Yes,
vice
sir.
chancellor to make it a point to say that from now onwards, in our university or
Yes, sir.
college, we are going to document everything. First point he has to make, and he has to, that is his what we call that vision statement. From tomorrow
Yes, sir.
on, we are going to document everything, whatever the activity we do it. Number one. Number two,
Yes, sir.
the document can be in the form of the document in the book or in the digital form. You decide now, because we are all in the digital world. And
Yes, sir.
then the third point, after insisting on that, very frequently we have to find out the progress made regarding that or not. Now we call it a supervision and monitoring. That's what I mentioned
Yes,
earlier.
sir.
And then
Yes, sir.
lastly, you can also evaluate the quality of the documentation one has done it. For the sake of document,
Yes, sir.
I can write a para and I can say this is my document. Or I can write only
Yes, sir.
two lines and I can. Therefore, you also can have a document. Therefore, in my opinion,
Yes,
an
sir.
administrator can say, we want the documentation for this academic year. We are going to record everything.
Yes, sir.
Then you can also prepare a small note and some small ground rules for everybody. What is the way in which you are expecting you to document the activity? I will just
Yes,
mention
sir.
quickly. I was the staff advisor for the Students Association. And earlier,
Yes, sir.
they never used to have any kind of documentation.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, I said
Yes, sir.
tomorrow we are going to have a discussion regarding whom to invite, record that. Then
Yes,
which
sir.
guest is coming, record that. What was the speech given by him, record it. Like that, we
Yes, sir.
started and kept a big file. I'm talking about 20 years
Yes, sir.
back. Kept a big
Yes, sir.
file, and at the end of the year, it became such a big file that everyone was
Yes, sir.
inside. In that way,
Yes, sir.
whether inside the class or outside the class, you have to have a documentation. Like I'm a professor, about the teaching documentation, how many hours I taught, how many practicals I did now, documentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Therefore, in that way, if you make that as a policy, if it is announced by the right authority and insisting on that, supervising on that, automatically it will come, madam. It is not an easy thing. But that,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
that should become a culture of an organization. Culture
Yes,
of
sir.
an organization. If we can do it, is possible. Like if you go
Yes.
to a city market, we speak very loudly, a marketplace. If you go to a hotel place, without our knowledge, we whisper, correct? No? The atmosphere
Yes,
itself,
sir.
in that way, we have to see in our college, everything is documented, everything is watched, everything is preserved. And then some kind of incentives can also be announced informally by the principal. Oh, I am happy. Such department-wise documentation, department-wise, such department has got all the documentation. We have got academic auditing, documentation is important.
Yes, sir.
In that way, madam,
Yes,
if
sir.
possible, please try. I am happy about this
Yes,
question.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Meanwhile, we'll take a question in Q&A. Mary Angeline has sent a Q&A question. Sometimes the management do not believe in scientific planning. Your
Okay.
thoughts, sir? What can the principal do in this case?
Okay. Now, in my opinion, if someone is not able to accept anything, in my opinion, I am also a psychology professor. If someone is not going to accept anything, which means his exposure is not good, his understanding is not fine. Therefore, we have to orient the person from the right source so that he should be made to know the things properly. Supposing if I have visited a good hotel, then I can comment about other hotel about the quality. If I have not gone to a good hotel, if I go to ordinary hotel, take some item, I may say this is best. Therefore, unless there is some kind of comparison, it is difficult to accept and proceed. Therefore, in my opinion, if the authority is not clear, I think there is a method where the management should ask the authority to participate in some programs, workshops, read the informations, or circulate some reading material to the authority. Therefore, educate the authority, number one. Make him to know, make him to move with the other organizations where they are doing similar things. If we can do, slowly it is possible that we can change him, he will do it. Therefore, we have to make him to understand, dear professor, you may not be personally interested in maintaining the records or doing everything, but university is insisting you have to do. NAC is insisting we have to do. So kindly cooperate. That is how we have to go, in my opinion. Pursue, motivate him, educate him, pursue, make him to understand. And majority of you can put little pressure intellectually. I am sure he also will change. Pressure from the bottom in the sense subordinates. Pressure from the top means the management experts. Somewhere or the other, in the good will, not in the bad manner of complaining, we should not do. In a good way, in a positive way, we have to induce. I think change is possible. Everyone will accept. But resistance will be there in the beginning. Otherwise, it's fine. Thank you, man. Thank you.
We'll take a last question.
Yes.
Dr. S.B. Nageshwar.
Yeah, fine.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Nageshwar. Tell me.
Very nice.
Thank you.
And with jokes at the end.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
My question is, we are talking about the component of educational administration.
Okay.
You explained about human element, material element.
Correct.
Mechanical element will fit into.
Little loudly, mechanical
element.
Okay. What is that?
Mechanical things.
Okay.
So where they will?
No, I think material. I said no. Under material only you can include that. If you want, you can have a different category. No issue. No issue there. You can have under materials. We are going to include that. But if you wanted to use that under a different heading like mechanical, that is also fine. Therefore, mechanically means, are you referring to the machines, gadgets, equipments? Are you
Yes.
referring to? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, definitely, you
Ah,
can have. Please, you can have. Like mechanical, you can use the word gadget or devices or mechanical instruments necessary for our organization. Under that, you can have. Let the, for example, we want a big TV screen monitor, for example. You can put it under that heading if you want. Therefore, categorization is yours, sir. No issue. You can have an idea. You can proceed. You can prepare them. Therefore, that's why I said, whenever you are planning, in the planning stage only, you can say what are the different components you would like to include. You mentioned, sir, human, very good. Second point, we want to consider on finance, fine. Third one, mechanical gadgets, equipment. You can include and proceed. You can check. It is possible.
Okay.
You can go ahead. Right. Fine.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Amey Kumar ji has come.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Professor Amey Kumar ji, anything you want to add? And because you are also from the management background, please, sir.
No, that's really wonderful, sir. Wonderful presentation. Actually, lot of interaction. I could see a lot of, professors, they are interested to ask questions.
Thank you, sir.
I could see it's very good topic for everybody's benefit.
Yes.
Educational management. It's a very interesting topic. You put it in a very nice manner. The benefit of all our participants. Is there any more questions, Samuel?
No, sir.
No. Okay.
Kamsinginda, you may go ahead with the program.
Thank you. The voice is audible, Samuel, sir?
Yes, yeah, I'm audible, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Amaya, sir. Good evening, all. As all good things comes to end, so is this webinar. On behalf of National Assessment and Accreditation Council, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to all those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this webinar on Upanasya Malakya Lecture Series 1 on the topic that is Education Management and its applications to higher education. First of all, I would like to thank the torchbearer of this webinar, our respected Honorable Director, Professor S.C. Sharma ji, for leading and inspiring us in working towards the goal of conducting this webinar. We are immensely grateful and thankful to you, sir, for your constant support and guidance at all times. I take this opportunity to also thank Professor Amaya Kumar, sir, Advisor NAAC. He is the cornerstone and the backbone of this webinar. Without his support, all this cannot materialize and come out as it is intended. I'm thankful to you, Professor Amaya, sir. I would like to propose hearty vote of thanks to Professor Shrikanta Swami ji. Sir specifically told on leadership, educational administration, its main function, the scope, and the various aspects involved into education administration. Thank you, sir, for very interesting and thought-provoking talk. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. I am sure that all the participants have taken note of your suggestions and they will try to discuss within their organization and action to initiate at their level. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
My heart goes to all the participants who are part of this webinar, who have encouraged the morale of the speaker, the organizers, by their august presence and enthusiasm. Without your kind presence, we could not have accomplished what we dreamt for. Special thanks to all the NAAC officers, advisors, deputy advisors, assistant advisors.
Right.
Support staff who all have helped for organizing this webinar. Last but not the least, we are thankful to each and everybody who were directly and indirectly involved in making this event a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Shamji. Thank you. Amey Kumar, thank you, Samuel. Thank you. My special thanks to the director for his beautiful concept of organizing this lecture series. Thank you, sir. Thank you, my friends also. Those are part. Thank you.